Is Rand the worst boyfriend ever?
Do the band on the boat have any chance against Black Aja?
And wouldn't you want an alarm that you could just pull you out of your dreams as efficiently as that brass pin stuck in a candle does? We'll answer all of these questions and more on this week's Bustin' Blockbusters. Hey, welcome to Bustin' Blockbusters. In case you didn't figure out what we were talking about in our questions, we're talking about the Wheel of Time, Season 3, Episode 5, called Tel'aran'rhiod. Egwene trains to master Tel'aran'rhiod while Mat's group pursues Liandrin's Black Aja. Perrin strategizes against the White Cloak, unsuccessfully, threats to the Two Rivers, and lanfear expresses her true feelings to Rand. This episode was written by Ajoke Ibironke.
Sure.
It was directed by Marta Cunningham. And we're going to just get right into rating this episode. Priscilla, what would you rate Season 3, Episode 5, Tel'aran'rhiod?
I give a 9 out of 10 double N's.
Double N's?
Double N's?
Yeah, now just Nynaeve. Man, is it just me, or Nynaeve is having the worst time ever? And for a long time, she has been having the worst time ever. Like season 2 was not kind to Nynaeve, but at least she had one episode completely dedicated to her. But we are episode 5, and until now, Nynaeve has been either depressed or depressed. So I don't know. I don't know even what to expect. I mean, I read the book that the story about Tanchico takes place, so I know what I should expect. But Nynaeve has been so not Nynaeve lately that I cannot even picture anything anymore with Nynaeve. On the other hand, Egwene was like half the episode was Egwene, I feel like it. And she was doing great. She was even Moiraine asked for her help, which I'm sure boosted her ego a little bit. She was very happy about witnessing the dreams of her friends. And then she found out that Rand, the man she fought, was the most patient, kindest, greatest boyfriend ever.
Yeah, of course.
Is actually a scumbag. It's like basically cheating on her with the woman who has been trying to either murder her or torture her. We are not sure so far. So it's kind of like, wow, Rand, wow. That's like very low. And not only was he cheating on Egwene, but he was very happy about it. You could see, even from behind, you could see it.
So. Now you know why everybody hates Rand.
Yes. I was Team Rand for half of the season, not anymore.
Bubba, how about your rating?
Well, I'm not quite as high as Priscilla. I'm going to give it 8 FAFOs out of 10.
FAFOs? What the heck is that?
Well, you watch this episode, Forsaken Around, find out. Egwene found out that her boyfriend's been forsaken around. Oh my goodness gracious. This was a middle episode. We're past the midway point of the season, and this is a middle episode ramping us all up. I should have some problem with the fact that we've already seen 5 hours and we're still ramping things up, but I am a very basic boy. You have one person walking into somebody's crib and saying, looks like river trash. I'm all in. This is honestly like Real Housewives of Tarvalin. Let's attack. Let's throw smack. Egwene, who I've always loved, she is suffering a nighttime fate worse than sleep apnea. And Nynaeve, you said it, Priscilla, She's an Isa Seasick, said I. The show has gotten me hooked on some things as a non-book reader. I needed this middle episode to get into some storylines. 8 out of 10, solid B from me. What about you, Matt?
Double M's is my rating, and 9 out of 10 is my number.
Way to steal
double M?
Priscilla's rating of 9 out of 10, Matt. Terrible.
Yeah, I know. I'm not very original, but mine at least is for magnificent music cues. Because I thought Lauren's score really saved this episode by helping the emotion a lot. I was cool with everything. I think the storyline was fine. I think the writing was fine. I think everything was great. It is my least favorite episode of the season. Simply for the fact that, I'm like you, Bubba. I'm at episode 5 and pieces are still moving. That just isn't working for me. But
you were
that's
still
the problem.
9 out of 10.
Also, well, yeah. I mean, it's still a really good episode. It's just that, as I think my next lowest rating was a 9.4. And since I can't grade anything below a 7, those points of tenths of a point, they really make a difference, in the level of the episode. So, that's me. 9 out of 10, still really good. I don't know that I would have gotten excited about the Sea Folk if it hadn't been for Lauren's cue. I don't know if I'd have felt as much emotion about Egwene basically, being a peeping Tom in everybody's dreams, without that lovely cue going on. So that's just me. And folks, we want to know what you would rate this episode, and we want you to tell me why I'm completely wrong about my complaints about this episode. You can send your complaints to me, matthewmurdik.bsky.social on Bluesky, or you can find double PHQ, the word double the letters PHQ, across all social media. I mean, if a social media exists, double PHQ is on it. So just go find them. And you can always leave comments on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/at the word double, the letter P, the word media. Priscilla also has already put out a review of this episode on her own channel. That's Priscilla TV1 on YouTube. My email, by the way, is mattsaudioblog@gmail.com. No more talking about me. Let's talk about taking our fifth. We've seen a lot of Aiel this season, so let's take our fifth of the treasure ourselves. And this is basically what we thought our favorite scene or favorite couple of scenes were. So let's start with you, Bubba. What was your favorite scene or scenes this week?
For all our listeners who've been following along with my non-book reader takes, I've been a bit tough on the Two Rivers storyline. It really wasn't connecting with me. So like every bit of it, I would find problems with, well, does this really make sense? Does this really make sense? Again, maybe I'm basic. But if you have an awesome camp infiltration, you've got Aes Sedai fog machines, you've got arrows flying, you've got people getting stabbed, oh my goodness gracious, mothers murdered, it hooked me. It still feels a bit clunky getting to where I think the story's going, but for me, the White Cloak infiltration, it made me care about characters I hadn't really connected with before. So I have to give the show credit. It really hooked me, a non-book reader, into the Two Rivers storyline. That's my fifth, and I'm taking it.
Excellent. How about you, Priscilla?
Well, the Nynaeve dream within Egwene's dream tour for me was the highlight. But then, one of a commenter on my YouTube channel reminded me that actually that was an Egwene that, as a child, that was like Nynaeve's fake daughter that she had with her in her fake marriage to fake Lan on her dreams.
Priscilla, I had the same thought for a little bit. I'm like, is this young Egwene with the old Nynaeve on the bridge? Like,
yeah, I mean, if it's a dream, it could be.
Right,
but,
that's, yeah.
No, but one of the commenters, actually, he went to the credits and the little girl is credited as fake Nynaeve's daughter.
Yeah, she did. She did use the same name for the girl that she did when she was talking about with Lan.
But it never crossed my mind because she doesn't look like Lan at all, that daughter. She doesn't even look like Nynaeve. So for me, she looked more like Egwene. So it's like, it's Egwene. That's lovely. Lovely. But no. So I was wrong, but it really touched me anyway. So I'm trying to be positive because the second scene that I really liked was Elayne taking down Swan, and my third scene was
good.
Moiraine taking down Swan, then taking Swan.
Whoa. Yeah.
I mean, I have to agree with you. For me, it was as unethical as it is. The whole dream tour was incredibly fun and emotional for me. I loved the way you saw so much about each character from her view in their dreams, and it was very economically done. That whole sequence was what, like 3 minutes, maybe?
Yeah.
And between Perrin with Hopper there, and just the fact that he's thinking about Fael, that she's there. The Elayne says so much about Elayne, the fact that she's always looking for new ways to learn things and everything, and she's dreaming about herself being a wind finder, and of course she's got Aviendha with her. So all of that stuff just says so much about those characters, and even Nynaeve, about how this is something that she can't get past. Matt and his endless need for approval and his endless need for approval from his mom ever since she said he was just going to be just like his dad, and then that came back to haunt him in season 2, and now in his dreams, that's the thing where to hear her say, "I'm proud of you," and then when you couple that with what happens to his mom in this episode, it was really emotional for me. It got me.
Yeah, I'm glad that you pointed out that it was unethical, because I would say, why, Matt, you complain about Egwene doing this and you choose it as your favorite scene. But I'm glad that you can recognize that you should not actually have enjoyed that much.
Matt,
it was your favorite scene too. You had a favorite,
but I had no problems. But I had no problems with it.
You don't have problem with. Okay, so you and your husband are talking or making out, and you don't mind if I'm peeking in the window?
No, I think it was tragic because Egwene was so happy that Rand had chose to spend time in his dreams in their spot until she realized who was there with him. So even if she was a little bit like crossing a line, Matt, I think she got more than she deserved, like just she could buy it there. So I think we should forgive her.
She did get some comeuppance for her unethicalness, and don't forget that she's not supposed to be doing this anyway. The wise ones told her that don't go into Tel'aran'rhiod again until we tell you can. Whoops.
Yeah, but Moiraine asked her.
Well, and that's great, because that's going to show. Well, we can talk about that in the book section. So let's talk about the wheel of topics that we've got here. We've got, all of the stuff with Egwene and Tel'aran'rhiod. We've got the trip to Tanchico, more so than actually getting there, except for the last minute of the episode. We've got the Two Rivers, Bubba's favorite story probably for this week, or maybe not. An old standby, Rand is still your favorite CW star, and other Aiel stuff. And then the Tower. Those are our topics. Let's spin the wheel.
Man, I can't believe, we've spent so much time talking about Egwene, and that's where the wheel landed. You guys just got done talking about it. You both enjoyed it, even if you both came to different ethical conclusions for it. This, as a non-book reader, is fun. Last week, I said we had a lot of exposition of the past they wanted to get out. They presented it in the TV show in a very interesting and fun way. This week, we've got to set up this world of dreams and visually make it clear we're in dreams and what could we possibly see in dreams. And I thought it was really good. I thought it was the perfect way to end the episode. And I'll just get to it. When you are in a dream, are you really cheating if you're making out with a different girl? Egwene sees it as cheating. Egwene is like, oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't. Not on our rock overlooking the valley here in Two Rivers. And so Egwene has to take down lanfear. I'm not sure she wants her man back anymore, but this woman coming into her dreams, torturing her, that cannot stand. And I thought that was a great way to end the episode.
It was a good way to end the episode. Again, I will tell you all, the ends do not justify the means, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it was fantastic, especially the way that her first encounter with lanfear in Tel'aran'rhiod set that up so beautifully, and then give it up for Natasha O'Keeffe for just being that girl who knows that the ex-girlfriend is right over there and makes out with the guy and shows off to him. Well, at the end there, she was totally doing it, and Rand is buying this stuff, man. I mean, I saved that for the CW stuff, but Egwene's skills. There's lots of rules to Tel'aran'rhiod. I mean, you can't get hurt there. I loved how when she got
woke up, could get hurt there.
Well, I mean, you can't allow yourself to get hurt there because you'll be hurt in the real world. And I was going to qualify that by saying, lanfear was basically strangling her in Tel'aran'rhiod when the pin dropped the first time, and you could see the bruises on her neck from the airweave. That I thought that was a great detail to put in there. The other rules, the Aiel, the wise ones, they know a lot more about the system. I love the fact that you can just wish that you're somewhere and then you're there, or you can just the fact that you have to be careful of uncontrolled thoughts. Like she got scared, and so all of a sudden her armor came up for that same armor outfit that she had in her archway thing when she had to kill Rand. All of these kinds of dreams really this world, I think what a lot of people don't understand is how much Tel'aran'rhiod is connected to the entire story. And that's not something I'm going to go into here, but it's nice that they've demonstrated it fairly well in order to set us up for other things in the future, hopefully.
I thought it was really weird when Egwene spun the top and we were waiting to see if the top would fall over to realize she was in the real world. Oh, wait, that was Inception.
Sorry. That was my... Look, you're joking, but at the beginning of the episode, I had like this... am I expecting a sandworm? Because it had like the dune thing. And then when they went into the dream world with the whole idea that you had some sort of thing that would connect you, that would bring you back, I was like, am I watching Inception? Exactly. And I was like, no, I'm being too meta here. I'm being too much. No, but good to know that I wasn't the only one.
Loved it. It was love. Now, let me jump in and say I loved that end of the episode. I thought it makes you want to hit play on the next episode, even though as we do these podcasts, we have to wait a week each week. The one thing I will say is that, and I wonder, you guys have really read this whole part in the book. The show has never made me feel that Rand and Egwene are endgame, like that this story was about them getting married and running off and living happily ever after. What I would say, and this is a spoiler for early seasons of Game of Thrones, there's this couple on that show, Jon and Ygritte, where the show really spends a lot of time showing you these two are in love. And so when you find out they aren't endgame, it really kind of hurts. The end of the episode really kind of was a big, like a gut punch for Egwene. But I wonder as an audience member, if the show had made me believe that Rand and Egwene were endgame and meant for each other, and then Egwene saw this horrific thing of lanfear and her man making out, if it would hit even harder. But you guys would know that, not me. It's just one thing I thought about while watching it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But what I can say is that the TV show is actually going to great lengths to make them a couple, to break them up.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's
because at this point in the books they are no longer a couple, and it's not a dramatic thing. It just got like it gets into Rand's head because it's Rand, and that's the way
And everybody
he does.
hates Rand.
Yeah. But Egwene is pretty adult about it. And in a way, I also think that because they age up the characters, because they made the characters relationship physical, and more adult, that they are being actually a little bit realistic about what a breakup is when you have been with someone seriously for some time, that it's really hard to disconnect at once. So there is this on-off period. So we are seeing kind of an on-off period where they are actually trying to glue back what they had, but it's impossible. And I think now Egwene finally realizes very dramatically that it's impossible to Rand. And I hope this is for real now.
Well, that's something else about, first of all, that's perfectly also exemplified with Moiraine and Swan in Swan's dream. They're, Moiraine 1 minute says, no, we can't be together anymore. And then at the last moment, then they're making out. But the other thing that I wanted to say is, it seems like, at least from what Moiraine said, that the way this story, that more time has passed since season 1, and that would explain like the aging up of the Coffin girls and all this stuff. It's a smart move. The entirety of the Wheel of Time story takes place over the course of about 2.5 years, right?
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So so by saying it had been years since Moiraine had warned Egwene about the dangers of dreams, it helps a couple things just from a production standpoint. Your actors can age up and it won't matter that much, and those types of things. And I'm cool with that. I don't have any problem with that at all. But it is kind of funny how Egwene's trying to school Moiraine about dreams, and she was the first one to warn him about them when when Egwene didn't even have a notion of being a dream walker of any kind. So I found that very funny. And as far as Rand and Egwene goes, it in the books it's just kind of more of a common sense kind of thing, and just a growing apart. And I think, Priscilla, you explained it very well. What else?
I ask you guys a question. I want to ask you a question. So we saw these, you almost want to call them happily ever after dreams. You had Nynaeve back in the Two Rivers with a family with her daughter. You had Perrin back in the Two Rivers. Hopper's still alive. He's doing great. You saw Matt successful with his mom and his sisters. If you could only make one of these things come true, which one would it be? Now, obviously, the mom is dead, Hopper the wolf is dead. But if you could have one of these, kind of be true in the true future for our heroes, which one would you choose it to be?
I would choose Matt with his mom and his.
Yeah, that's a tough
because
one.
it was bad what happened to the lady. Yeah. And Nynaeve with her fake daughter, I mean, it's fake.
I know, listed as fake in the credits. That's pretty tough.
Yeah, she was. No, yeah. And I don't know, it feels like it's too early in the story for Perrin harboring feelings for Fail. But
but he's just thinking about her. She's just there.
Yeah,
he's got conscious thoughts about her.
She saved his life.
I was going to say, but I mean, given Perrin's story, and he has been shown us to be like this type of guy that would actually create such an attachment very fast. So I can see that, actually. Okay. Because he's a little bit lonely, right? I always, even when I'm reading the books, there is some loneliness with Perrin also. That's why he wants to go back.
Okay. Yeah,
there is a sense of responsibility, but it's also like he's not so outgoing as Matt, and he's not the Dragon Reborn as like Rand is. So it's like, he needs a pack. He's a wolf. No, he's
The
a wolf
years
boy.
thing might also explain why nobody in town seems to recognize him anymore. What do you think, Bubba?
Okay, you've convinced me. You know,
Okay.
he would have been shaggy when he went to college.
Rafe,
Every kid came
Rafe
back,
is
nobody
clever.
knows who
That
he is.
dude. That dude's clever. My favorite dream or the one that I would like to see come true, Elayne and Avi, and Elayne being a wind finder. Because Elayne has, even as the sailmaster called her out, she's always wanting to try new things, to be somebody else, to try and be anything other than what she wants to be, or what she's destined to be, which is, she's destined to inherit a throne. And it's just, she just looks so free and so happy. That's the dream I would want to come true.
Man,
Oh, look, it landed on the Two Rivers. I can read that.
Ooh.
It landed on the Two Rivers. And we've already talked about, we already talked about Natty Cawthon. That's really terrible. That was just awful.
Yeah, she was a double C.
A
Double C?
A crispy Cawthon.
Oh my gosh, that's so terrible. Poor woman.
Yeah.
Child Valda. I mean, what can we say? He was so
he's the
eager.
hero that this story deserves.
Wonderfully evil. Wonderfully evil.
All these magic users need to be tamed down. He's showing the way.
He was so eager to question someone. He got his wish, I suppose, and he did. Yeah. He then complains that she didn't have that much power in the end, so he wanted another one.
I don't know. He seemed kind of disappointed. He wanted. It wasn't enough. He wanted a real challenge. That's the one thing you got to love about Child Valda is he's always looking for a bigger challenge, right?
He's always looking for someone to question. Yes.
Yeah, it's he's just too good at it. It's not fun anymore. He's got to find somebody else, somebody more powerful so that he can take them down.
He's the epitome of just asking questions.
Let me say that I love Child Valda. When they introduced him in season 1, the fact that there was somebody so deliciously evil that our heroes would have to overcome. Obviously, I hated what he did, but I love that there was somebody so villainous. Once again, a recognizable villain in this show, which sometimes can have unrecognizable mystical forces. But I loved him thinking, hey, let's go take down this Aes Sedai who's causing the fog. He give him his due. He's kind of brave-ish.
Yeah, with 15 other guys doing it.
What? No, let's not attach brave to Child Valda. Child Valda is something else.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's amazing, but brave, I would not say he is.
Here's the thing about Child Valda. He is just your average Joe, and your average Valda.
Evil Joe.
He's your average Valda, and he's willing to take on all of these powers that are so much greater than him. Now, granted, he doesn't ever have to suffer any consequences for it because he was up there, and I guess he just walked away while everybody was giving Alanna, the Boromir treatment, and how many arrows can you take? And here's the other thing about that with Alanna. Aes Sedai evidently can't heal themselves. That's why Moiraine was in such peril in season 1 after she got injured by Trolloc weapons and everything, and they had to take her to Shadar Logoth to rest, and that didn't work either. And the Nynaeve barely staved it off until other Aes Sedai could heal her. Who's going to heal Alanna? Loyal.
That's a great answer. I hope so.
Loyal,
it would be cool if he's going to be the new wisdom of the Two Rivers.
Loyal will find some obscure medicine in a book somewhere, and he will heal her. I don't know.
That Bubba won't get it all, but if it's days, we're in trouble.
Yeah. Like, listen. We have a potential channeler in the Calton
And those
girls.
kids. Yeah. That was
Yeah,
great.
but she's not going to know how to heal. She did that instinctively. They both looked at each other like, "Did you do that? Did you do that?" I think they both can channel, and they didn't know which one did it.
Yeah, and so I'm just making a list of suspects here. So
For healing Alanna.
yeah. So there is also the power of love, Maxim, that will heal her.
Yep. Huey Lewis. Good point.
Yeah. Maximum Huey Lewis.
Yeah, so you already have like 3 options: Loyal, almost Sedai Carlton, and Power of Love. Whatever you choose.
Can I talk about Alanna for a bit? And this is something that may get book readers or show watchers angry with me, but there are times in season 2 and even in this season where I've been wondering, why is the show, which I keep pointing out only has 8 episodes, why is the show spending any time with Alanna and her warder? In season 2, we did feel like we spent a lot of time with them, but they didn't really have a big effect on the overall story of season 2. And then in this season, we spent a lot of time in their grief, and I was kind of like, why, where is the story part of this? But in this episode, it suddenly clicked in, and maybe it was a bit clunky because they're kind of staying off the top. Hey, you know why I'm doing this? Because I want people who can fight, and these 2 river folks have it in them to fight against the darkness. So they kind of had to come out and tell a non-book reader like me, this is why we've been spending so much time with this character. But it worked. When her warder came back and protected her and helped her, I was like, oh, hell yes. And that's one of the ways I was able to connect with this 2 Rivers storyline that has been a bit that I just haven't had a great opportunity to connect with in their earlier episodes of this season. So, you know what? Now I'm on Team Alanna. Okay, let's go. It took her taking multiple arrows, but I'm there.
I'll tell you what, Bubba. After the way she was doing things in that, I don't remember, whatever the Logain Army episode was in season 1, I was team Priyanka, team Alanna from there on, because she was whipping up some one power that we hadn't seen in the show before, other than Moiraine's little, thing at the 2 rivers.
Even then, in season 1, where you're right, she helped put down Logain, and she was part of the people who stilled him, correct? Even then, it felt like she was really just a supporting character to the Moiraine storyline and the Logain storyline. It wasn't like, hey, this is a character. To me, as a show watcher, it didn't feel so much like, hey, I've got to invest in this person. She's just an Aes Sedai, one of the Aes Sedai, multiple Aes Sedai. This, for whatever reason, it really worked. And now it makes me think, oh, I've got to pay attention to her. I like her. I'm on her team. So.
Yeah, well, that's what Priyanka's been waiting for. They keep throwing her in scenes because it's Priyanka Bose. You gotta have her in stuff, man. She's awesome. So finally, they found the payoff for her, I suppose.
This thing with the White Tower sending Aes Sedai to the 2 rivers to find other channelers is actually a book point.
Oh,
they do that. With Alanna specifically, she is like a very, very supporting character in the books at this point. There is some plot development later on that I know that she makes part, and it's a big development. I also think that it's a good decision to actually spread out the Ajas and what they do. So Alanna is a green Aja. So you already know what the green Aja is now. So you see Perrin is from the brown Aja. You already know what the brown Aja is. You see Liandra is from the red Aja. Elayne is from the red. So I think it's like the more examples of Ajas and what they do that we have in the series, I think is best for the exposition and for people that didn't read the books to understand exactly how they act.
Hey, did you all notice that Bane and Chiad were out running a horse? Told you Aiel were fast.
They were fast, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Also, what else? Fael's badass. There was something about that fight scene with those white cloaks. It's like, does the stunt coordinator just come up with the same? Is it supposed to be some kind of motif? It's like, this is the way we always defeat the white cloaks. We do the little flip, we do the split kick, we do all of this stuff. Or was it just the same? Was it the same stunt person that did Avi's stuff, that did the stuff for Fael? And it's like, well, this is what I'm good at. Well, do that. And, it's just like Fael's fight looked exactly like Aviendha's fight with the White Cloaks to me from season 2, and good old Perrin, he can't even take on Dane Bornhold, and poor Fael's having to pick up the slack for him, taking on 2 other guys all by herself.
Okay.
Perrin has been Nynaeved.
Well, he saw those wolf heads, man. That got me.
Oh yeah,
poor Perrin, man.
Brutal.
And especially with his connection to him now, it's just that. And of course, the whole thing about seeing Natty, and there's nothing like a guy who says, "Yeah, I'm bad now, and it's all your fault."
It was disgusting. It was so stupid. But I don't expect anything more than a Bornhold. Like Bornhold Jr., he has been a mess.
I was very shocked when he got stabbed so bad. I was like, holy smokes.
I hope he dies.
Whoa.
I hope he dies.
Whoa.
I hope he dies. Yeah. And then Child Valda can take care of all the white cloaks.
Right. He'll be in charge. Okay, you've convinced me.
Put him in command.
Yeah, imagine that.
Do we want to talk about the sea folk?
Let's do it. Let's love boat. Min and Matt are connecting on the seas.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do an acapella version of that later, Bubba. Have you reached 10,000 subscribers yet?
No, thanks for nothing.
Oh, they don't want to hear you sing, so that's why they're not subscribing.
Oh,
okay.
There you go.
I gotcha.
Why don't you guys talk me through this? Because I thought, once again, this was what I consider a middle episode. Hey, the team didn't know Min's here. Now they know Min's here. It's like bonding them a bit. But most of my notes are for the very end of this storyline. So what did you guys like about the boat journey and what we saw the characters on the boat journey doing?
I like the sea folk. I like the sea captain. And I like their dance. That was very cool. I know that Matt didn't like it, right?
No, I did like it. I loved the way the weaves looked. Could you tell how much different it was than the way we see Aes Sedai weaves? It almost kind of like had this Northern Lights kind of look to it as it hit the sails. And it was the movements were so violent, because what that shows is there's so many different cultures that can channel, not just the Aes Sedai, but they all do it in their own different ways. And I loved the Sailmistress's words for Nynaeve. It perfectly solves, if she can just put it together, it perfectly solves her problem with channeling. We'll see if that works or not, though.
I'm trying to think if Nynaeve actually had received some sort of instruction that would actually help her with her block. I think
she got it today.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. I think that this was the first time that someone actually told her something like, "Dude, you're too rigid. It cannot be like that."
The other thing that I love is the way that she said, "Are you the kind of person who needs to be in control of everything?" And Elayne laughing. That was hilarious. I laughed my butt off at that.
But maybe, I don't know, Nynaeve, she's older than the others, so that maybe also, and she already came in, she was the wisdom of the village, so she was already in this position of responsibility, of power, and then she has to downgrade to be a novice again. First season was the last time that Nynaeve channeled, so it's
no. Take that back. Liandrin. Remember when Liandrin attacked her in season 2 and she fought back and got Liandrin up against the wall? But it has to be a particular circumstance where it's almost out of her control, right? It's not something that she seems like she can consciously do. because her feet are too firmly planted. She needs to be in control of it. And like we were talking last week, the whole difference between Saidar and Saidine, Logain says, take control, to Rand in season 2. Whereas what Nynaeve is being taught at the tower is to submit, to let it flow through you. And that's something that is Nynaeve has a lot of trouble doing and should have a lot of trouble doing, I think. But
but it's not working for half of the audience at this point.
On the other hand, I am all, as a book reader, I am all here for as many times as Nynaeve pukes in a bucket as I can possibly get.
And what about Matt? Did you like Matt?
Ooh, he found out. But he's kind of right. It's like, look, you said I was going to kill Rand last time. Is Rand dead? No, I didn't do it. If he is, so I can understand why he doubts it.
I don't think he doubted.
Well, he was bothered by it, by that look. Yeah, by the time he was turning away on the bed, he did look like he was bothered by it. That's true.
Yeah, and what I loved, because the scene was a little bit forced in the way that he finds out, like that she's drawing that. But I love Min's attitude about it. No, I'm here to help you not do this, and I'm here to help you all get like the Black Aja. I really like that she's being proactive and she's doing stuff. She's not just being cooked out at the White Tower, like sharing her visions with Swan, because Swan cannot have a proper intelligence person to work for
Elayne using her education overly zealously.
Also great.
That's very great character building. And just the fact that, what really sealed the deal for Min coming along, and will probably be very helpful if she's been there before, is the fact that Matt gave her the endorsement. Is, do you trust her? And the one person who had actually been betrayed by her said that he trusted her.
Yeah.
So I think we've redeemed Min's storyline a little bit from where it was in season 2. Yeah, just a little bit, Bubba says. Okay. But hopefully it will continue further down the line. I wouldn't want to see that image of myself on a rope. And then poor Matt, the second he gets on the docks, what does he see? A reminder with that guy swinging on a rope right as he's coming on shore. Just horrible. He's got to be worried about it. You're right, Priscilla. There's no way that he's putting this off. And he's always been the guy that says, I don't want to know anything. I don't want to, that's what he was saying to Min the whole time last time in season 2. So we'll see. Anything else on Seafolk? What you got, Priscilla? Anything, Bubba? Anybody?
Well, what I was going to say is that I like these characters. I've had some trouble with a couple of them, but I like these characters generally. But as a show watcher, I see this is the group that thinks it's going to take on the Black Aja. And right now I'm like, how does this group even have a prayer? Yes, I believe Nynaeve can get past whatever's blocking her accessing the one power. But even Nynaeve at her 10 out of 10 best, to me, is like, what are these guys crazy thinking they can take on the Black Aja? That is my thought, because the Black Aja in the first episode of season 3 proved that they are no joke. They are for real. And so good luck, team. You're going to need it, is what I would say as a show watcher.
And I would agree. The only kind of hope that we can cling to is that we were told after that episode in season 1 that everybody thought Nynaeve was the most powerful channeler that they'd ever seen. So if she can tap into that, maybe she has a chance. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, but you're also thinking in terms of confrontation, right? So their mission is basically they have to retrieve the artifacts. Even more important than
you would think that for Nynaeve, her protectiveness of Rand, that would become her focus. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it landed on the tower. So, Bubba, what was your thought about all of this? How do you think Elida? She's nothing if not direct. She went straight to the Swan's face and called her a river rat. called her
I told
dirty
you.
and scum.
River trash, man. This is so good. This is so good. I don't know, Matt, if you'll have the ability to do it, but I want anybody watching this on YouTube to look at the three of our backgrounds and figure out which of the three of us is river rat trash. This was Smack Talk 101. I loved it. Now, Elida, I thought in a previous episode was a bit more kind of subtle with her political machinations, not just coming in and saying, you suck. I'm going to take you. It's time to put the adults in charge. But I loved this storyline so much of how it like kind of like the earlier one with the Two Rivers ended strong. I think this ended really strong about Elida hopefully can see that Swan means business. And if these two could work together, who knows if they could, but if they could wreck shop on some Black Aja. So I loved the ending. I loved that Elida fell into Swan's trap. I love that Swan revealed the trap and revealed kind of, hey, you see what we're dealing with? I loved it.
I think this could have had a chance if not for Moiraine telling Swan exactly what would happen if they chain the Dragon Reborn.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So this is gone. This is gone. Elida thinks the best thing for the light is to chain the Dragon Reborn. And Moiraine already comes to Swan, who in the second season kind of was doing this thing that Elida wants to do against Moraine's instincts. But now Swan has her, I don't know, girlfriend or whatever, telling her, no, listen, I saw the future. It's not going to work. We have to back the Dragon Reborn. If we don't back him, it's gone.
Yep. So Priscilla, what you're saying, and maybe I didn't see it this way. I know that Elida is very hard. We got to cage and still this Dragon Reborn. But what
still.
Well, sorry, whatever. The Dragon Reborn.
Just cage him. Yeah.
What I thought is by Swan saving her life and showing what we're up against. We're up against these gray men. Maybe that could be Swan's way to make Elida not so rigid, but maybe I'm being
okay. I like the personality that we are seeing has been very direct, very clever in the way of how she gets the power, but very direct. She's not hiding anything. That's what she wants.
Swan set Elida up to fail. What does Elida say in practice? Is it episode 3? Cross me and I shall never forget it. I think Swan has made a greater enemy of Elida, even by saving her.
Saving her life. Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I agree with you, Priscilla, completely. It's like Swan just did the worst possible thing she could have possibly done as far as Elida is concerned.
She should have let her die.
She should have let the vote happen and just shut up about it.
Well, can I ask you guys, here's another book reader question. Maybe this goes for my question section at the end, but as a non-book reader, you guys talk about this. Is it the oath rod where you swear something on the oath rod, you can't lie anymore? And so you can't lie, but you can just come in and accuse anybody of anything. Like even if you suspect
if you believe it's true,
it's technically not a lie. So you can just come in and wreck shop. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
that's the way I took it, but I was still a bit shocked. Like, okay, you can
and then you look like an idiot. And then look like an idiot because it's not true. So this is what would have happened to Swan. That's why she wanted to be with Perrin like so much. No, we need to find the truth. We need to find the truth because she cannot just like accuse anyone. And then it's like, no.
Okay.
She's already in a weakened position. If she falsely accuses a person like Elida of being a dark friend, and then Elida comes to her like, I'm not, and she proves it, that's also the end for Swan.
Okay, well, maybe this happy end, maybe this ending I enjoyed so much is not going to come true. Apologies. Oh, wow.
Now, did I get it wrong? Did the gray man who died this week, that was the one that Mogi made in the first episode, right?
Yeah, possibly.
Because they both had that kind of Frodo eyes look. But who was the gray man last week then? I mean, is Moki just
Another one.
Is she just making gray men? And why did this guy wait around for 2 episodes before he went into action?
He needed to be trained before.
He needed training. Okay.
Yeah,
I can accept that.
He was an intern before. He was killing other people to get
Okay,
to the main
is
one.
this a spoiler? The gray man obviously had a set target, but the Mogi we see, the Moghedien we see, I hope I pronounced that Forsaken's name right, that we see in the city acting as a servant to the Black Aja there. How would she know, okay, I've got to take out these prisoners because they might reveal something? There's maybe something I'm misconnecting. Maybe Mogi is getting info or intel from a Black Aja saying, hey, you got to do this. But maybe I'm missing it. So it's fascinating is all I'll say.
I mean, Liandrin is with lanfear. So, no, Liandrin and lanfear had some sort of connection, agreement.
And Liandrin knows these two were captured. Like if a Forsaken or a Black Aja, leaves the White Tower, they can still get reports and say, hey, guess what? 2 of our members are being held in the 13th depository or whatever. Okay. All right. Maybe I missed that.
Yeah, or whoever is the remaining Black Aja could just be feeding the information directly to a lanfear or to a Mogi because, Tel'aran'rhiod.
Okay.
But in the books, they get killed.
The prisoners, sorry.
Yeah, Joy and Amiko are definitely dead. They both are.
Okay. Well, they're dead in the show too. Good reasons.
And
but there's still one Black Aja at large.
It's a similar way that they die in the books, right? They are being held and then because
it's a different location, but it's essentially the same thing.
That's how the Black Aja acts, and like people that turn to the shadow. They are, if they fail a mission, they are going to
be punished.
Be punished, and
on the quarterly review, you get written up. I get it.
Oh, it's much worse than that. You get axed.
Ooh,
literally.
Remember the second season, the hot guy that I liked? Like
no.
Which one?
They're all hot. What are you talking about?
No, what is his name? I forgot his name. I'm sorry.
Ishamael? Ishi? Which one?
You're thinking of the Lord of the Rings. You're thinking of Sauron again. Just be quiet.
No. Moraine's nephew in the series.
Oh, yeah. The dark friend.
Bartanes.
Yeah, he was a dark friend. Evil.
He was a dark friend. So in the books, he faces a similar fate that all dark friends that fail their missions. Yeah. They
not good.
They cannot fail. They fail.
Anything else about the tower? Because we've only got one spot on the wheel left, so I'm not going to bother spinning it.
Yeah.
Still spin it. Come on.
Okay. Looky there. It landed exactly where I would hope it would land. Maybe because I had filled in all the spots. So Rand is still your CW star and other things in the threefold land. Priscilla, you probably summed it up best in just saying, at the very beginning of this episode that Rand was the worst boyfriend ever.
I thought it was Jon Snow.
Wait,
but now I think it's Rand.
Well, I'm telling you, it's worse because Rand thinks that he's Luke Skywalker and he's going to save Lanfear from the dark side.
It's ridiculous, right?
He is getting so played. It's unbelievable how much he's getting played. This is a woman who's had 3,000 years to think about her plan. You think that she's telling him everything he wants to hear. I love the part of you. And she does it with some truths. I love the part of you that wants to save the world, but I really love the part of you that wants to break it.
Heck yeah.
I mean, how sadistic is that? I love it. Lanfear continues to score all the points for me in terms of a fantastic villain because for just a moment there, you believe that, maybe, that whole business with Sarkanan, or Sakarnan,
sure.
last week, or in episode 3, It's like, what is she thinking? What is she? Does she really want to destroy the Dark One? And now it's like this one, between all of her actions with Egwene and everything, it's so easy to see through that. Rand, dude, you're being played.
Yeah, and not only we were talking about how Rand has been like becoming more adult and wiser, more empathetic, and then when it comes to lanfear, he's still this little boy, right?
Yes.
Because he cannot think straight. He really thinks that a woman that we have seen like slicing throats and doing doing a lot, that she's actually misunderstood. Are you serious?
He's making big mistakes. What can you say?
Yeah, and then he comes, oh, I saw you when you were you and not now, when you were so good. And it's true, but it's in the past. People make other choices, and she already made hers.
And the seeds for her wholly being evil was even laid out there in that episode, but he didn't see it.
The ambition.
He didn't see it when naturally she didn't know what that source was. But you can guarantee that once the Dark One crept into the world, the first thing she said is, "I'll serve you. Just get me Lews Therin, because there's nothing more important than having the people that you love." She's just so great. On the other hand, Moiraine can't handle the truth, baby. She
can't handle the truth
in a Jack Nicholson voice, which I wanted to do. You can't handle the truth. See, it's terrible.
Pretty good.
Anyway, yeah, she tells Lan what's going on, which surprised me a little bit. Here's something that I picked up on that I don't know if you all picked up on or if you'll just think I'm crazy.
Probably not.
Lan startles her, kind of. She doesn't realize, is he just so deep in her thoughts that she doesn't feel him there? Because that water Aes Sedai connection she should know that he's there as soon as he's there. But she kind of startles him. So is she just so deep in her thoughts, or has she shielded the bond a little bit again in order to protect him from all this stuff that she thinks is going to happen?
Well, I hope it's not that. I hope it's not that.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Aes Sedai can, like, they have the upper hand.
Well, we saw Alanna just say, "Okay, your bond's off."
Yeah.
And then the fifth arrow, it's back on. It's back on. Please come, Maxim. Please. He scouted 4 miles up Turnip Mountain in 20 seconds.
The upper hand in the relationship. So it's totally possible that she doesn't want to share something with him.
Yeah, but she also wouldn't be aware of him, and that's why she got startled.
But like the turn on off button is with her. Of course, if she turns off, it's off for both of them. But the decision is.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was implying that I thought was happening, but I don't know if it's true or not. And like Bubba said, I hope not. But it sure seems that way to me. That scene with Swan in her dream, man. I mean, I love to getting drunk with on Usquai, even though they only took 2 sips apiece, if that. But that whole thing with Swan, it was just so bad. And she came into this dream saying, "I got 2 things to tell you," and then she only tells her the one that she thinks is most important, which is, you've got to bend to the black to the Dragon Reborn, or else he won't win the last battle. Man, put Swan in a terrible position. She's got all these sitters that Elyda's courting now. Even Alviarn, or whatever her name was, the white sister that Elyda was talking to.
Have you watched Dune Prophecy?
Yes.
I have not, but that's fine. Tell us.
Yeah, so the thing is, Olivia
Williams is one of the sisters.
Olivia Williams is there.
Yeah.
And Olivia Williams Williams does kind of the same thing in the both series. But most importantly, the other sister, they are facing some sort of tower, a white tower takeover, and between two factions, right? There is one faction and the other, they have a theological disagreement, let's say. And the only way to make sure that like future and the vision of the matriarch is fulfilled is to completely eliminate another faction. So obviously this one cannot do what she needs to do. But just a hint, Swan. Just a hint. Just watch Dune Prophecy, and you will learn exactly what you have to do.
She needs Moiraine to toss her that Sakarnan so that she can use that, because Moiraine can't handle that either. It's too much power for her, the way she struggled with that thing. And I love how it showed. Remember in the end of season 1, the woman, that Faldaran woman who burned herself out because she couldn't let go of the power? That was what you were seeing Moiraine go through in this episode with the Sakarnan. That's what Lan was describing, this euphoric feeling, but also a thirst and a hunger for more. Moiraine was as full of the one power she could possibly be and wasn't able to control this thing. I mean, we might not need to see all those lanfear slicing her throat, because she might just blow herself up with the darn Sakarnan.
I think it's a lesson learned. I think that she won't do it.
Well, who's she going to give it to? What's the point? She's certainly not going to take it back to the tree.
No spoilers. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. No spoilers.
Listen, would you want to go back in there after all that happened to you?
No, but don't say what you would do with this super powerful artifact.
You just give to someone and say, well, next time you go to Rudy, and next time you cross that bridge there, you just please put back. Just that.
Return to sender.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rand isn't the only CW star either. I mean, Rurik's got him 2 wives, baby.
That's one more than one.
That's one more than one. Polyamory is another part of Aiel culture that we learned about this week, as well as table manners, which I thought even wetlanders would have. Just be nice to people who are on either side of you when you're at a public dinner. But evidently Rand needed to learn that too.
Like, I really like the way they explain, like, we love each other and she loves her, and they love each other and I love them too, and we're all happy. That's the way. Happy. Yeah. And then Aviendha says, yeah, dude, totally. How can you just get one person?
Yes, it's got to be tough. Now I know the Aiel are nothing but swingers. You go into the fogged city, you take off all your clothes. I mean, they said, come on.
Well, I mean, it does look kind of like a nude beach resort, right?
I sadly would not know, but I'll take your word for it.
I love how horrified she was when was it Bear or Elayne? She said, you can't teach a wetlander these things, and Elayne goes, cannot. I really love the Elayne character. She is so grumpy, and it's hilarious. I love her. She's my favorite wise one. I like Bear, but Elayne is my favorite wise one. She's the best. She slipped up the one time with Moiraine, which she needed to do, so it was okay. Elayne is my gal. That if I'm going to go walking through the dream world, she's the one that I want to be walking through with.
All right.
Duly noted.
Yeah, but Aviendha was horrified by the fact that she'd have to spend more than a couple seconds with Rand. And now she's got to spend every waking moment, well, from the time that he wakes up to the time he goes to bed. So we'll see how well that goes over the next 3 episodes. I'm betting not very well. Musical analysis. We've been talking about the IU a little bit here at the end here, and I want to tell you that Lauren did something really tricky with the IU theme, which is actually was introduced as Aviendha's theme, but then has been used for all IU things since. So I guess it's actually an IU theme. But there's this thing called parallel keys. Like I'm in C major or I'm in C minor. One of those is not a correct C. At any rate, sometimes you can borrow chords from the parallel in order to make things really interesting. Also, new C folk theme. Yay! 6 minutes. If you don't like music, skip 6 minutes. Hey, welcome to Musical Analysis for this week. And today we're going to be talking about two themes, one old and one new, but Lauren employed the same technique in order to create a surprising emotion, either a lift or a fall, in each case. A trick that a lot of composers use, and Lauren sometimes uses, is using the parallel key, like if you're in a major key, using chords from the parallel minor, or the opposite, if you're in a minor key, using chords from the parallel major to create a different kind of effect. And the first theme that we're going to look at is the Aiel theme. Actually, it was originally written as a theme for Aviendha, but it's used pretty much for all of the Aiel because she does represent that culture to us. She was our first exposure to that culture in the television show. The melody that we're used to hearing is like this. And we're also used to hearing it in what we call a mixed meter. It's 7 counts per measure. So it feels like the downbeat's getting flipped all the time, like this. But in fact, Cold Rock's Hold is a place of comfort for the Aiel. It's their community. It's a place that they call home. It feels good. So not only does Lauren kind of smooth the beat out and make it more 4/4, which feels more comfortable to us as humans. For some reason, we prefer symmetry in our rhythm, even though we don't prefer it in our harmony. But the trick is that he puts a parallel chord underneath. He replaces the 4 chord, which would normally be minor, with instead a major chord. So it sounds like this. It's that last chord that I'm talking about, the one that really kind of gives you that sense of comfort, because a major key really does. And especially when you do 4 chords like this, if you're in a minor key and you go to a major 4, it really uplifts everything. And it was just shortly after that Lauren basically did the same thing. He started from the minor 3 in the key when Rand was showing his tattoos to the little girl, but then as he was starting to be playful with her, you heard that 4 chord come back again, major, in a slightly different key, but it sounded like this. Love it. So you can see how just replacing a single chord can really change the feeling of a piece. It's no longer warlike. It's very comforting. Now, in the same respect, just like you can borrow major from a minor key, you can also borrow chords from a minor key and place them in a major. And they kind of give everything a sense of depth and a sense of surprise. And that's what happened with the Sea Folk theme. This is a brand new theme that Lauren put out for this episode, and the first time we hear it is actually when we see the outside of the ship. It sounds like this. Now, the melody that I was playing on top on piano is actually sung by female choir of some kind. I'm hoping it's the Mystery of the Bulgarian Voices that he worked with there. He's worked with them before, especially for like His Dark Materials and even for Wheel of Time already. And it's a really distinctive timbre. It sounds really, really cool. but I haven't got confirmation from Lauren on that yet. So I won't say it. I'll just say it sounds like it. But where the substitution comes in this time is the first key is major. You hear a major chord, and then it's followed by what we call the flat 6 chord, which is actually borrowed from the minor key. And then he further extends that, and this is one of my favorite things, is he then goes to the major 2 chord, which normally doesn't fit in the key either, but what it does do is it kind of lifts things up. It almost makes the home key feel more Lydian. And as we've talked about before, Lydian always feels more magical. And of course, these people are making these ships go really fast because they are channeling. So the magical aspect of it is great to incorporate into the theme. And it's that movement from the major third to what feels like the minor third, because it's part of the flat 6 chord, to the Lydian third that makes everything really, really work. I'm talking about this. So in conclusion, Lauren's substitute, he borrowed chords from what we call the parallel major. If I was in C major, I'd borrow from C minor. If I was in B minor, I'd borrow from B major. And that's exactly what happened in this episode. That's it for musical analysis.
Bubba Has Questions.
Oh, wow. Okay, so real quick, these are not even questions so much as statements. Number one, all I hear about is the last battle, the last battle. But if the Wheel of Time keeps spinning, if you die in the last battle, don't you come back? So is there such a thing as the last battle? Or is the Wheel of Time going to be broken and you don't come back in the Wheel of Time? That's just a statement from me. Then, because I haven't read the books, I'm going to give my predictions.
Wait a minute. I want to answer question 1.
I don't want to know the answer to question 1.
Well, just think about it logically.
Oh my God!
If the dark one,
keep spoiling me when I don't want to be spoiled. I don't want to answer.
I'm not going to spoil you. If the dark one wins the last battle, is anybody coming back? That's my question.
Okay, then. All right.
Okay,
yes.
So it's important.
All right, let's see if I can get through this without book reader Matt jumping in. So these are my predictions for the end of season 3. Here we go. I imagine in the Two Rivers storyline that those evil white cloaks are going to attack the Two Rivers town folks. The Two Rivers town folks are going to stand up and push them back. But then those evil Fades and Trollocs will attack, and the two forces, the White Cloaks and the Two Rivers team, will have to get together to fight the evil monsters. My prediction in the Hunt for the Black Aja storyline, I'm going to give you an either or. The heroes get taken captive, which they really have quite an aptitude for, and then suddenly Nynaeve remembers how to use the one power, and they kind of win, and then the Forsaken have no other place to turn other than Mogi. So that's option 1 for how that storyline ends. Option 2 is that Nynaeve really does get tempted and maybe joins the Black Aja. That would be a fun twist, terrible twist, fun twist. That's my prediction for that one. For Rand's storyline, it kind of seems pretty simple. He is the Cornucob. He is going to reunite all the Aiel to join his side and be his army for the last battle. And then my final prediction is one that I'm just, once again, not so sure on. We have all these visions. Moiraine has all these visions of her being killed. I still predict Moraine's going to survive this season. Probably not the whole show, but I predict Moiraine will survive that season. That's your non-book reader predictions.
Excellent.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm so impressed.
I think that
especially since half of them you could have come up with in the trailer.
The Nynaeve one. Is it a wish that she joins the Black Aja to become more interesting, or is just really a prediction?
No, we've seen her have a bunch of talking with Liandrin, and so obviously, the devil on your shoulder can tempt you. So that's one way I could see.
Out of curiosity, what would the shadow offer Nynaeve to tempt her? What do you think?
That child she wants. The fake
child?
Yeah, the fake child. She wants that fake child to become a series regular. That's what the Dark One will offer her.
Fireweave of the week.
Big child will become a
What was the
series
best burn
regular.
of the episode? Priscilla.
I think Moiraine reminding Swan that Moiraine managed to do her job, but Swan is failing to do hers.
Ooh.
You know,
Zinger.
I think it's worse for Swan to hear that from Moiraine because she loves Moiraine, than to hear Elayne calling her river trash. However, for us, for viewers, I think Elayne calling her a river trash was more satisfying, I would say. So
I'll go.
draw.
Elayne laughing when the Seafolk channeler asked if Nynaeve needs to have control all the time. Laughed out loud. Mascom had a whole bunch of them though. Calling the Two Rivers Turnip Mountain after the early when he was talking about eating turnips all the time in the prior episode. That was fantastic. About now making fun of the way a man makes bread may not be too much of a zinger, but it was still funny. And wearing the fact that they all wear burlap bags basically as clothing. All of those were great zingers. What you got, Bubba?
Well, obviously, the biggest burn of the week is Natty Cawthon.
Yes, feedback.
Max Delpo said, I am blown away from episode 4. Max, I think a lot of people loved episode 4. I sure did. Let us know what you thought of episode 5.
And Arosa_MG says 10 out of 10. And
Whoa,
I'm assuming that's for our
score.
podcast, right? That's for our podcast.
Episode 4, not our podcast.
Oh, okay. Cool. Caro Johnson, or Carl Joso on YouTube says, hey, trio, great dive into those 2 episodes. I really needed to listen to you 3 to get my head around what has been shown to us in these last 4 episodes. I am really enjoying the different viewpoints on the material as I haven't had the pleasure of reading this mammoth series. I think Bubba is doing a great job asking basic questions so that we can all catch up to knowledge that has been hard won by the fans of the books. I think the way they depicted Moraine's blank stare after seeing all the futures is more realistic than Doctor Strange's quip after he experiences the viewing all of the alternative futures that he did. Now, remind you, he saw 14 times as many because Moiraine only saw 1,000. He saw over 14 million. I'd be quippy after, 1,750,000 too. I give episode 3 an 8 out of 10 double T's.
Double T's?
For thump. Huh. I don't know what that means. I kept thinking the next thing to come out of Aviendha was a warning on how to talk on or how to walk on sand. Oh, the Dune reference. Okay, now I get it. Took me a minute. I'm sorry, Caro. I will give episode 4 a 9 out of 10 double SDs.
SDs?
For Sand Dune Showdown.
Oh,
excellent.
Very true.
Many enter the ancient city, only 2 survive. Whoa. Next on the Wheel of Time. Thanks for the fun. Thank you. Thank you, Carl, for that excellent feedback. We appreciate it. And folks, if you want to send us feedback about this episode or any of the prior season 3 episodes, my door is still open for just a short while longer. But next week we'll be coming back with episode 6. And in the meantime, you can contact us, matthewmurdik.bsky.social, or the word double the letters PHQ across all social medias. You can also find our videos for these podcasts on the YouTube channel owned by Double P Media. That's youtube.com/@ the word double the letter P, the word media. And you can find Priscilla's own personal reviews at Priscilla TV1.